In this video, we're going to talk about the types of numbers. Not all numbers are the same thing. Like, there are certain numbers that are special, and there are some that were invented before others. The first type of numbers that we classify are the easiest types of numbers. These numbers are the ones that even cavemen used. So if you were a caveman, how do you think they counted? Do you think they started with well, if they were talking about just, okay, their cave. How many caves does a caveman have? They have 1 cave, 2 friends, 4 rocks. Cavemen use this type of counting, which are just the same thing that you have on your hands and your fingers. You start with the number 1. And count up. These numbers are called the natural numbers. They're natural because they're the ones that humans came up with. No matter what their language, they started counting and they said, you, 1 thing, me, 1 thing, together, we, 2 things. Something like that. That's how I pictured it anyway. So the natural numbers are the easiest numbers. Those are the most basic. The next step up, it's not the one that came time-wise immediately after caveman. The next little tiny bit more complicated type of number just adds a single thing to it. So caveman, they just counted what they could see. But then the next most complicated is things that you can't see. So if you can't see it, you say, I have no breakfast. I have no money. How do you count that? That would be start with 0. These numbers are called the whole numbers. Then we have 0 and up, 1 and up. What about some numbers that can help us do adding and subtracting? So adding would make things get more positive, but if you're subtracting, it's possible that you'll go too low. So if we subtract, you would start with 0 and count down. 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. You wouldn't just stop with -4, but you would keep going to negative many spaces away. You would go so far that there is no stop. You could never get to the end of the numbers. You would go to -infinity. You also have the positive numbers in this one. You can count down forever, or you can count up forever, and you would be inside the integers. Every whole number, positive and negative, is also an integer. The next most complicated thing. So we have all the numbers on our hands. We have 0, we have the negatives, What about what's in between the numbers in your hands? So what's in between? What are these in between numbers? These would be fractions and decimals. And decimals can be two ways. Decimals can be repeating. Decimals can be terminating. Fractions are equal to decimals. And you can have some examples. Could be 1/4, 27 over 12, 4.30, 4.305, negative 20.1, negative 40 over 2. These are all called, we got fractions, we have decimals. Together, they make the rational numbers. The rational numbers are numbers that are in between other numbers. They can be positive or negative. These are all numbers that you've seen before. The one new type that you will see for the first time this year is this one. Irrational numbers are numbers that do not repeat and never end. Irrational numbers are numbers that do not repeat, never end, and do not simplify to a clean answer. So let me think of an example that you all know. You learned this one last year, or possibly even before that. Pi. Pi is approximately 3.14159 something, on and on, forever with no pattern. Another example would be the number e. E is called the natural number. You'll use that number in either Algebra 2 or in pre-calculus. Altogether, whether you're this type of number, a rational, whether you're a whole number, whether you're a natural, whether you're an integer, whether you're irrational, any of these categories all fall under, all of these are considered the real numbers.